Widsith is an Old English poem of 143 lines. The poem survives only in the Exeter Book, a manuscript of Old English poetry compiled in the late 10th century containing approximately 1/6 of all surviving Old English poetry. Widsith is located between the poems Vainglory and The Fortunes of Men. Since the donation of the Exeter Book in 1076, it has been housed in Exeter Cathedral in southwest England. The poem is for the most part a survey of the people, kings, and heroes of Europe in the heroic age of Northern Europe. See Tribes of Widsith. Date of original composition. There is some controversy as to when Widsith was first composed. Some historians, such as John Niles, argue that the work was invented after King Alfred's rule to present a common glorious past, while others such as Kemp Malone have argued that the piece is an authentic transcription of old heroic songs. Among the works appearing in the Exeter Book, there are none quite like Widsith, which may be by far the oldest extant work that gives a historical account of the Battle of the Goths and the Huns, recounted as legends in later Scandinavian works such as the Hervarar saga. Archaeologist Lotte Hediger argues that Widsith goes back to Migration Age history. At least part of it was composed in the 6th century, and that the author demonstrates familiarity with regions outside of Britain, including Denmark and the Baltic coast. Contents, excluding the introduction of the scop Widsith, the closing, and brief comments regarded by some scholars as interpolations. The poem is divided into 3 catalogues, so-called thulas. The first thula runs through a list of the various kings of renown, both contemporary and ancient. Caesar ruled the Greeks. The model being, name of a king, ruled, name of a tribe, single quote. The second thula contains the names of the peoples the narrator visited. The model being, Withi, name of a tribe, I was, and Withi, name of another tribe. In the third and final thula, the narrator lists the heroes of myth and legend that he has visited, with the model, hero's name, I sought, and hero's name, and hero's name, single quote. The poem refers to a group of people called the Wisingasin, which may be the earliest mention of the word Viking. Lines 47, 59, 80. It closes with a brief comment on the importance and fame offered by poets like Widsith, with many pointed reminders of the munificent generosity offered to tale singers by patrons discerning of songs. Quote, the widely travelled poet Widsith, his name simply means far journey, claims himself to be of the house of the Mergings, who had first set out in the retinue of Ealhild, the beloved weaver of peace, from the east out of Angeln to the home of the king of the glorious Goths, Eormenric, the cruel troth-breaker. The Ostrogoth Eormenric was defeated by the Huns in the 5th century. It is moot whether Widsith literally intends himself, or poetically means his lineage, either as a merging or as a poet, as when the fictive speaker Dior uses the rhetoric of first-person address to insert himself into the same legendary world that he evokes in the earlier parts of the poem through his allusions to Welland the Smith, Theodoric the Goth, Eormenric the Goth, and other legendary figures of the Germanic past. Historically, we know that one speaker could not travel to see all of these nations in one lifetime. In a similar vein, I was with the Lidwechingers, the Leonis and the Langobards. Widsith boasts the forests of the Vistula in the ancient writing tradition. Widsith, v. 121, are the homeland of the Goths, the material remains of which are generally associated with the pro-Wars culture. The poem that is now similarly titled Dior, also from the Exeter Book, draws on similar material. The list of kings of tribes is sorted according to fame and importance. according to Heidegger, with Attila of the Huns coming first, followed immediately by Eormenrich of the Ostrogoths. By contrast, the Byzantine emperor is number 5. See also, Tribes of Widsith, Anglo-Saxon Poetry, an anthology of Old English poems. Tr. S. A. J. Bradley, London, Dent, 1982. Translation into English prose. Chambers, R. W. ed. Widsith, A Study in Old English Heroic Legend. Cambridge University Press. Cambridge, 1912. Malone, Kemp, ed. Widsith, Rosenkehler and Bagger, Copenhagen, 1962. Niedorf, Leonard, The Dating of Widsith and the Study of Germanic Antiquity. Philologus 97, 2013, pp. 165-83. Pascual, Raphael, April 2016. Old English Metrical History and the Composition of Widsith. Philologus, 100, 2, 289-302. DOI, 10.1007 per seconds 11061-0159460-6. Y. Scott, Eric. The Meter of Widsith in the Distant Past. Philologus. Old English Text. Digitized from George Philip Crapp and Elliot Van Kirkjoby. eds. The Exeter Book. The Anglo-Saxon Poetic Records. 3. New York, Columbia University Press. 1936. The original text of the verse with a translation. A verse translation by Douglas B. Killings. A translation by Bella Millett. Norton Anthology of English Literature Online. The Linguistic and Literary Contexts of Beowulf. Niles, John D. 1999. Widsith and the Anthropology of the Past. Philological Quarterly. 78th. Niles, John D. 2003. The Myth of the Anglo-Saxon Oral Poet. Western Folklore. 62. 7-61. JSTOR 1500445. Notes.